Hey everyone, Kareem Rae here with Pierre Cayet, who is a professional footballer for New England Revolution 2, playing in MLS NEXT Pro. Pierre, how's it going?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good. We're going to be focusing on you today. Everyone wants to know how you became a professional footballer.
Yeah, well, a bit of a background story. I came from France in 2018. I was playing in a reserve team in the League One over there in a club named Angers, and I decided, to come in America to go through the whole college process, just to experience that student athlete life, and also, to be able to get a degree from the United States. So that's basically what I did for the remaining 3 years. I had at Temple University in Philadelphia, and then I was able to, through my agent, get a touch with the New England Revolution that offered me a contract right after my senior year. After I had three really good season at Temple and a lot of awards, so that was definitely good, and that's how I ended up being pro in 2021.
Nice. Congratulations to you, which was last year. Um, and we met through Jalen just last week at BMO Field down in Toronto. You guys played TFC 2. It was a good game. But you mentioned France, right? I've been to France back in 2019. It's a beautiful country. Can you just talk a little bit about like the football over there and the culture around football?
Yeah, I mean, it's much more like a big deal. Back home in Europe, like soccer is the main sport. We all play soccer really, and growing up, it's very competitive. The academies over there are much more technical. The players are really good starting from a young age. Maybe not as physical from like a strength perspective compared to the US, but I think back home, we get this sense of how to play the game really and be good on the ball and be good as a team. So that's definitely different mindset and different culture. But I like that as well. It's just much more difficult, I would say, to become pro or overseas.
Got it. And you guys have a mentality of like speed, 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 like go, go, go in France. Is that the case, or is it just my perspective of what I got from when I was there?
Um, I mean, I think there's a bit of both. I mean, definitely, we're trying to play quick, counter attack, transition, and all. It's huge back home, but at the same time, we want to keep the ball and trying to make the other team chase as much as we can, and then eventually score goals. But I think you're right, especially in the younger like ages, like teams just trying to go and score, and they just go and go. And defensively, they not be as good because they just focus all on the attack.
100%. And you mentioned that it's harder to break in Europe. Why is that? And why do you think it's easier to get in over here in the US?
Well, I wouldn't say it's easier, but it's definitely a different path. Like back home, after you make it to the academy, you try to make it to the reserve team, which is the second team basically. But then once again, you're not professional yet, and to make it to professional, there's only like the first team of your club, which is like either League One or League Two. And the difference in Europe is that they have much more money, so it's way easier for them to bring young players from abroad that have already proven and have already experienced, and they just paid a couple of millions, and then you are here and just trying to make it. But at the same time, you don't have that experience that they already have, and sometimes they don't give you the chance that you really need to just make it. So I think I was at a point in my career back home where I wanted to try something else and see soccer from another perspective, another culture of it, and I wanted to try something else, and that's why I made the move to come here. But then once again, here it's not really like easy to make it. Like you still got to go through the whole college process, or even academy guys can make it directly after they finish academy to make it in the second team, just like guys I'm playing right now. But it's definitely challenging as an international, either to get drafted or to find a team because of all the international spot rosters and everything. So there's a balance, but for me, I think I fit more in the system than the one back home at this point. So I was lucky to sign here.
Yeah, it's amazing. Usually it's players want to go to Europe and play, but you're from Europe and you came to the US to play. Can you talk about like the transition from coming to France to the US? Was it hard or was it easy for you?
Well, the transition came. It was really hard. Like at first, at least from an English, speaking point of view, like I was not speaking English very well, and it was hard to, get into the culture, get into the team without being able to really communicate, and for them to understand me was hard. But it took me a couple of months, almost years, for me to really fit in the culture, and then really be able to be a part of the team, be a part of soccer here, and develop my game just like my coaches wanted me to, and really to fit in the system here. So definitely challenging, but I'm glad I did it.
Nice. Yeah. Kudos to you, man. You mentioned Temple University. Can you just talk a little bit about like the process? Did you have to get a visa to come over to the United States, and how did you get into Temple and why Temple?
Yeah, so when you make the decision to come to the United States, usually you go through an agency. So I went through the agency called FFF USA, which is now Elite Athlete Agency, which is both an agency that works for athletes to go and do college, to get a college degree in the US and play soccer as well, but also an agency that helps professional athletes like myself as an agency for agents and communication with other teams and whatnot. So that was the first step. Then I was able to get a P1 visa, F1 visa, which is a student visa, which I needed to be able to access the university, because I came in the US as a student, but then I was just playing, in the soccer team. But in the first place, I was here as a student, because I wasn't professional or making any money. So I needed to have a scholarship and all those things lined up to be able to get into the country, which there's a lot of, things going on with the visa. It's really hard to get, especially during COVID. So definitely challenging. But then why Temple? I think it's because I really wanted to be part of like a city, be inside like a big city where I could develop myself, but also enjoy myself outside of soccer, because I think there's both aspects. Like being a good team. Temple was a good program that was growing, as well as they had a project for me. But then also I wanted to be able to be in a city where I was gonna feel comfortable to do things and experience life as well.
Nice. You mentioned the visa. It was an F1 or P1?
That was a F1 visa, which is student, but now I'm a P1 visa, which is professional visa. So that was why I was confused.
Got it. For the F1 visa, which is the student visa, as you mentioned, how much
Yeah.
was that visa, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, I didn't pay for it because I don't really remember if that was part of the deal I have with my agency or if I did
Okay.
pay, but I think it was in a couple $100, maybe $200-300 just for the visa itself. But then all the the paperwork you had to do, I think my agency was taking care of that. So it is a lot to it. Then you got to go to the embassy in France to actually get it delivered and put it on your passport stamp. And yeah, so it's not as bad as the P1 visa though.
Okay, got it. What's so bad about the P1? I know a lot about visas because visas, first one, they cost a good bit of money. It could vary depending on the visa that you're getting. And then it takes long. But you had an agency helping you with the process. So how long did it take for you to get your visas, both visas?
So for the F1 visa, for the student visa, maybe it took me. I started the process in December, and I came in US in June. But I think when I started the process to get the visa, it took maybe like 2-3 months to actually get it and go to the embassy and finish everything up, because then I had to do some English tests before coming here as well, like lots of things, and send videos to coaches to actually get the scholarship, and because they couldn't see me playing, so I had to show them what I could do before any teams really offered me anything. So that was quicker than the P1 visa, because the P1 visa is a working visa basically for athletes. But then here New England took care of it for me because well, I got a transition. I was in the US on a F1 visa, and I came directly in New England on a P1 visa, which usually you got to get out of the country, get your P1 visa on your passport, and then re-enter the country with a new visa. But me, it was kind of like a weird situation where I had to stay, and they had to do the paperwork while I was here. So thankfully, they did that for me because I don't think I could have done it myself. So that's the good thing about being in an MLS teams, that they have people that takes care of all those things for you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Honestly, I've dealt with the visas myself, and it's like, bro, it's the worst. So, that's good that you had someone helping, like you had
Yeah.
MLS behind you helping you with that. So that's really good. And a lot of players that are not pro yet don't know that you might need visas, so on and so forth. But diving into more exciting things, how did it feel to sign your first professional contract back in 2021?
Man, it came like everything happened so quickly. Like I was finishing my season because we played a spring season at Temple because of COVID. It was moved to spring. Then I finished that. I graduated, and 3 days after, my agent called me. He had 2 offers for me, and then I signed 2 days later. Like everything happened so fast. I was just so overwhelmed and so excited because that was something I was dreaming of since I was like a kid, and to actually have it happen, and then the people calling me like, I need you to be here in 2 days and everything, and I'm like, oh my god, that's actually happening. Coming here and then signing my contract, get my jersey, I'm like, oh my god, like that's a dream. And I didn't regret all the hours I put in to be where I was at this point.
Nice. That's massive. And like you said, it happened right after. So like 2 days, like what was the process? Like, so obviously your agent was working on your behalf to have a team interested in you, and basically did you just have options and then you just chose and said, hey, I want to go with this team, or did a team pick you? Like what happened?
Well, it started before even the last spring season I had at Temple, because I was eligible for the draft, but I didn't get picked by a team because um, well, I don't think any team really had a plan for me, or either because my international, I was gonna take an international spot as well, so I wasn't picked for the draft. But then once again after the season, I had teams interested in me, included I had Pittsburgh that offered me a contract, as well as New England, and I had Louisville in USL that was interested before a whole coaching staff, changed. So they ended up not proposing me a contract anymore. But yeah, I had a couple, contact with teams, and my agent definitely helped me out.
Got it. Nice. So what things changed after you signed your first professional contract?
Well, my whole lifestyle basically. I mean, coming from Philly, I came to Boston, Foxborough especially, because that's where the New England Revolution training facilities are. So it's 45 minutes away from Boston. So first of all, being 3 years in the city and coming out here in a more rural area in Massachusetts, it's much different. Uh, just the lifestyle of having just practice every morning, and then just basically not doing much during the afternoon, but really taking care of your body is huge. Like I used to get to classes, see, socialize, go see friends, and do things outside of soccer. And now I was kind of like all into soccer. So was a major change last year when I first got here. I was like kind of stressed out about me adapting to the new routine, but it ended up being fine. And I was able to do things with my teammate outside of soccer as well. So that's definitely a big change that most soccer players, at least when they're not pro, they don't think about. But then when you make it, you're like, oh, okay, that's there's good and bad, but it's definitely something you got to get used to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something, it's interesting too. I don't know if you expected to have a lot of free time like once you signed pro, but like I think when you're a student that you have a lot to balance. You got your students, you got to balance your schoolwork and be a student athlete. But once you're a pro, you're getting paid for what you love to do. And then you just got to do your job, train, play games, and then recover. You got to make sure you're taking care of yourself mentally and physically. But in school, it's kind of like go, 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 go. But pro is like,
Yeah,
you got to move properly.
exactly. But at the same time, like you don't really have much expectation in college. Like here, that's your job. Like you got to perform, because otherwise you won't get resigned. You won't keep doing what you love. And there's also this mental pressure every day that you gotta cool down every afternoon. That's what it's used for now, because in college, when you just go, you play, it's more like, a lot of them don't try to make it pro and they're just trying to have a good time and then go to class. And that's more part of their lifestyle rather than, having practice and knowing that every day at practice you're being judged for what you do and, you're being, looked at for next season. And also that's much more pressure you got to, handle. So.
Yeah, 100%. That's a good point. What tips would you share with the next generation that want to go pro?
You say what?
What tips would you share with the next generation that want to go pro? What tips would you share with them?
From what perspective? Like from
in regards of like, if a player came up to you and said, hey, I want to become a professional footballer, what are 3 things you would share with me?
Well, definitely dedication. I think dedication is massive because if you're not dedicated to what you do, but on a personal level, like you don't trying to look good to others, but you got to do good and what's best for you, like you got to work hard every day at practice. And it sounds cliche, but that's just the way it is. Like if you show up every day at practice and trying to get 1% better, like and at the end of the season you're actually gonna get better. And if you're just trying to be a better version of yourself, that's all that matters. Trying to be better than others. And we're all different, so at the end of the day, it's how can you look better in the team while making others around you play better as well. So being a good leader is also helpful. I think it really helped me make that next step because I was able to make the team I was playing for a little bit better as well. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if there was 3 points, but I think you gotta summarize there.
Yeah, good points. Let's dive quickly into on the field things. Let's talk about you on the pitch. What position do you play?
So I'm a left center back.
So is that a position that you've been playing for a long time, or is that a new position for you?
No, I've been playing the position since I was probably 12, 13. I was mostly center back, and then I played left back. And then when I came back to the US, I came back as a left center back. So I've been playing left center back really for the past 5 years, I'd say.
Got it. I mean, again, we met in person. We're like around the same height. You're probably like you're 5'10"?
I'm 5'11".
5'11". So I'm 5'10". I'm a bit shorter. But usually center backs are on like the 6 feet size, but you're a strong guy. So like that means the coach really trusts you in that position and believes in your ability. So like, what is it about you and you started too, right? So like, how'd you become good at that position when physically you don't really fit the criteria, quote unquote, physically, the height wise?
Right. But yeah, that's definitely something that I've heard a lot. Like height matters, like center back. But would you rather have a 6'3" center back that doesn't know how to pass the ball, or 5'11" center back that's just strong, that's gonna beat you in the air because he has a better vertical, just because he's stronger, and he's just gonna be able to play at the back and have no issues, being a strong center back and no concede any goal. Like, there's this balance. Okay, you want a tall center back just because, or you want like a 5, 10, 11 guys, but that is really athletic, So for me, I was just always good on the ball technically. Coming from France, like I said, I was able to, play at the back really comfortable. I was able to break lines and just, help offensively, just a big deal. And that's what coach really likes about me right now. And at the same time, be really good on one-on-one defender and have good athletic abilities. So I don't think my height is an issue at this point.
Yeah, those are good points that you mentioned. And outside of you playing, what's your favorite field that you've played at this far?
My favorite field I played at?
Yeah, stadium.
I probably actually BMO is up there because it's actually one of the only like soccer specific stadium, like one of the biggest soccer specific stadium I played at, and the grass was good, and the vibes were good, and everything about this city was nice. Otherwise, I like the Orlando Stadium was nice as well. And yeah, I mean, I haven't played yet at other stadiums that I'm going to this year, so I think I'll be able to answer this question more at the end of the year. But so far this year, it's definitely Orlando and Toronto.
Yeah, 100%. And then going back to on the field, I should ask this before, but what three tips would you give to footballers that play in the left center back position?
Well, that's, obviously being lefty is an advantage because there's not as many lefty that are center backs out there. So that's definitely an advantage. And just be good on the ball. Like being good on the ball just makes you a way better center back because there's so many center backs that are strong and everything, but they really can't play out and they can't really like build. So being able to be good technically, that's key, be good one-on-one defenders because at the end of the day, like behind you, there's only the keeper. So you want to stay on your feet and just be strong and not be able to get past easily. And then just, work on your athletic abilities, just, verticals, like speed, because, we want center back that are faster now. You don't want to get beat so easily that you can't defend because the guy's just pushing the ball. So definitely those 3 points.
Nice. And lastly, what's your most memorable soccer moment?
I'd have a couple actually. I think maybe one moment that really stood out to me was that one time in college when we beat number 2 SMU at home. That was my senior year. I scored a goal. We just had an overall great game and just the vibes were good and just being able to have that highest ranked win against an opponent in Tampa history was like, obviously big. And otherwise, my first professional, soccer game at Gillette Stadium when, you come under the lights in a 70,000 plus seat stadium and you're just overwhelmed with just everything going on around you and just putting on the jersey with your name on it for the first time. That was just, amazing. And my first goal, that came literally the game after my first professional goal.
Wow.
When we played against Miami and I scored a header. And
Inter Miami?
Inter Miami, and that was the game winning goal. So that was big. Those 3 moments are definitely up there.
Nice, awesome. All right, we're gonna dive into the last 10 fun questions. It's speed questions. You gotta answer them fast.
Okay.
All right. Who's your favorite team?
PSG.
Favorite player?
Thiago Silva.
Favorite cleats?
Cleats?
Yep.
Nike Phantoms.
Favorite food?
Quiche Lorraine, French dish.
Favorite artist musically?
Rod Wave.
Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi.
What's the first team that you would pick in FIFA to play against me?
PSG.
2 goals in a game or 1 goal and 1 assist?
1 goal, 1 assist.
Would you rather score a free kick or a PK last minute goal?
Free kick.
If you were a coach and you were able to sub in any player in history to win you a game, who would that be?
Ronaldinho.
Ronaldinho. Nice. All right, Pierre. Was there anything that you wanted to add in or?
No, I think that's pretty complete. I think, all your questions are, thoughtful and just good overall. So good stuff.
For sure. Well, I just want to thank you for taking the time for joining us on the One Soccer Nation podcast today.
Anytime.